experience your first NFL win. What was it like? What was the vibes in the locker room? Like, how was that for you?
Nah, it was definitely cool, and definitely something I want to experience over and over again. But I think what was really special was just really feeling the back end and just the whole defense come alive to get together yesterday. Forcing 5 turnovers, that's hard to do no matter how they come. So, I think it builds a lot of confidence to the guys, on that defense. And then just playing complimentary ball too. I felt like the offense really stepped up yesterday. Made some big plays, took some risks, and it paid off. So as long as we can keep that going, let's keep winning.
In basketball, they talk about like 3-pointers being contagious, right, or something like that. Like, when you have like 5 turnovers in a row, like, does it feel contagious? Like, all right, like, we're just gonna go and take the ball away again?
Yeah, I think once you kind of get a couple, I think that's when you feel like, oh wow, like we got them. Like they're rattled. Now they're trying to force stuff, trying to find a way to make a big play. Once you get a couple rolling, one after the other, I think that's when you got them.
Kool-Aid has made a lot of leaps for this team from last year to this year. For him to not only get his first career interception, but to come up with a second one too and play so big for y'all. I mean, how happy were you for him?
Yeah, no, that's just who he is. Ever since I got here, OTAs camp, he's been, a playmaker, and he's been, you know, every day's been the same. Making plays, having confidence, speaking up. So I think that's just really, everybody else can now see, what type of player he is. I've always known him to be that player, though.
With a new head coach, obviously, for the team, obviously the talk of, him getting his first win. There've been things that's been put in place that seem like good practices, but now yielding those results. How happy are you for him, and like how much do you believe in like his success and the plan that he's putting in place?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it has to be about me believing his success. I believe his success because he's done it. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl. He's been really successful all the places he's been. So, I think the trust has always been there. But we went through a little bump. Had a little tough stretch, but the belief and the goals are still the same for us. So, awesome to get his first win. But at the end of the day, we're ready to go get this next one.
It didn't end up being a turnover, but Terrell Burgess, I mean, the play that he made on that flea flicker seemed like a huge momentum shift there for you guys.
Yeah.
Just what was that moment like?
Yeah, no, it's just Terrell is just super reliable. You know what you're gonna get from him. A guy who's doesn't make mistakes really. Always reliable to do his job, and it seemed like nobody else was ready for that play. But having one guy who's always gonna be ready and not let the team down, that's him. So he's been an anchor for us, and someone guys can lean on. Really familiar with Staley and his system, so always speaking up and just helping guys understand concepts more, and that's just says a lot about who he is as a person and who he is as a leader.
Jonas, were you as happy when you reviewed that game with your deep coverage on the sideline and playing it clean, turning your head? I mean, are you as happy with that as any of the other plays you made this year?
Yeah, I mean, I never want to give up, a catch. Thinking back to it, I think I could have tracked the ball a little better. I think I got a little stuck to the man a little too much. I knew the ball was coming to him by the way he was looking up and running. So, I knew I had to get my eyes around and play the man. But I love picks, so I think looking back at him, like that's another one I think I could have got. There was a couple of that game that I think I could have got.
I don't know if it's as true of a safety as a corner, but I mean, now that you've been playing an elevated role, I mean, have you noticed teams testing you and trying to make sure that you show you can stand up to it?
A little bit. I think being a safety, you kind of always have to be ready to get tested since you're the last line. If a team wants a big play, it's going to be on a safety generally. So, understanding that, you got to be ready for anything. There's a couple plays where you're like, dang, they could have done this. I got to be ready for them to, come back with the counter next, or maybe come back to that same play again. So you're just always thinking of possible scenarios or what they might try to attack next.
And when you had the early success you experienced, have you gotten like good advice about keeping tunnel vision and not
Yeah, no, for sure. Just little things like how to get your run pass keys faster, little things that'll give away and kind of help you be prepared for certain things. Justin's done a good job with that, but really all the guys in the safety room, Jordan, TB, Ugo, they've all done a good job just helping me out. whether they're, playing or have a big role or whether or not, they're all super smart guys who've had success in their career. So that's one, great advantage I've had of being in this room.
How much were the takeaways emphasized in practice, or was it just opportunities?
Yeah, no, every day, every meeting, they're emphasized, especially, Coach Brown, the corners coach, even when we're warming up for practice, he's holding the ball like this and just wants you to punch it out just to, get used to that. And I think that really is starting to, pay off. It's been a big thing emphasized over the offseason as well. So, this is just the beginning for us.